You see, this is the simple things in life that I talk about all the time. I don't want anything from the government. I don't want any help. I don't want any nonsense. Just fix the roads, clear the snow, make the lights go on, make the water run, defend the nation, and leave me alone.
In 183 BC, after years of battle between Rome and Carthage, the Romans finally caught up to Hannibal. Not this Hannibal. This one. A spy came to Hannibal and told him that the Romans were on their way. But rather than giving the Romans the pleasure of having their way with him, Hannibal took the poison that he kept in his ring, and the legend of the menace to Rome lives on till this day. The Romans really wanted Hannibal alive so that they could make an example out of him. So you can imagine their level of disappointment when they learned that Hannibal checked out early. And I'm not saying that Patrick Kennedy is any kind of a Hannibal, but I think I might have felt that level of Roman disappointment this week when I heard the news. I want to be happy about Patrick Kennedy's decision not to run in 2010. I really do. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm no fan of the congressman. In fact, if this were 6 months or a year ago, I'd be having a block party right now. But something about the way this announcement came out makes me a little bit uneasy. I didn't understand why at first. But part of it is because I feel like I've been robbed, ripped off, cheated of an opportunity to see this particular congressman removed from office at the polls. Something that I've waited an awful long time impatiently for. I'm sure the congressman would be happy to hear about that. I felt just like the Romans after they missed out on that opportunity to take Hannibal alive. Then there's this. When Ted Kennedy became a dead Kennedy, Massachusetts held a special election to fill his seat. And all of the attention and media focus was on Scott Brown. Not this Scott Brown. This one. Magical money and media mania poured in to fuel Scott Brown's campaign, which I was totally against because I saw it nothing more than a banker's attempt to put a, quote, progressive Republican into office who would meet the feds halfway on a healthcare bill rather than stop one altogether. They even brought in a professional campaign management team called Shawmut Group from New York, led by a guy named Rob Cole, to really lay it on thick. So, with all that hype and Tea Party support, Scott Brown took the election. And like father, like son, both Ted and Patrick only held office mainly because they were riding the coattails of much better, deader Kennedys from times past. Now that Patrick has announced that he won't be running for Congress in 2010, they have to fill his seat. And I'm just hoping that we don't see a recreation of what we just saw in Massachusetts. This is John Laughlin, one of Rhode Island's Republican candidates for this very congressional seat in question. I've seen him in action a few times, particularly at the Rhode Island Voter Coalition candidate forums, where the audience can ask the candidates any questions they want. And John Laughlin is impressive. He's very quick on his feet, and he's also a very nice guy. However, when Patrick Kennedy made his announcement, for John Laughlin, it was magical money, media madness, and they even brought in the exact same special campaign team from New York, led by a guy named Rob Cole, to really lay it on thick. Kathy Gregg wrote an article about this in the Providence Journal on February 7th, talking about this exact same issue. Even the Providence Phoenix highlighted this same situation. They're both saying exactly what I'm saying, just in a different context. Well, maybe I've made a big deal out of this, but I still think that we should be paying attention to details. We should root out the bad ones early. Keep a close eye on the polls. See you at the next report.